All right, we're going to talk about the cloud. Nick doesn't realize how well he set me up for this, but we're going to do our best to talk about the cloud. I want to keep it lively and engaged. I'm going to talk really fast because I want to get all the way through, and we have a short amount of time here. You're going to be a little bit surprised by what I'm going to tell you, I think. First of all, that's me. If you can see my Twitter handle, tweet me. Hopefully, if I get to the point where I still have time for questions, I'll be able to answer them. I'm a product manager at CloudShare and evangelist. In the tech world, the evangelist title, it's crazy. It's taken off. I know a lot about information architecture, SharePoint, and virtualization. I am chair of PAC, which is a committee inside of AIIM, and I have many acronyms. I also have a chihuahua named Bean, which sometimes I like and sometimes I don't like, but it's an important thing to know about me. So before I came, I was playing around with my Info Pro, my cloud scorecard. And this is what I came up with. If you do the math here, it's over 100%, and because I did it based on a work week. And I'm actually missing one. The one at the top is the one that really irks me. 55% of my time in a week is spent in email. Email is a cloud solution. You may not call it a cloud solution, but it is. And you go all the way down. These are all the various things that I do, and they're all cloud solutions. What's most frustrating is that not all of these are a part of my job. None of them were in my job description. So I get paid to spend a lot of times on things that I shouldn't. I have a login for all these things. It's crazy. The one at the very bottom is Wacopa. That's the tool that allows me to track what I do. So I spend about 1% of my time just tracking what I do because I'm a little OCD like that. But I'm here to tell you that the cloud is dead. Cloud's gone. As of last night, I was going to get up here and tell you that you are all crazy because you're not in the cloud yet. And Nick was saying that we have to quickly get to the cloud and we have to quickly adopt new technology. Forget about the cloud, guys. It's over. Cloud is dead. The new thing that I'm going to introduce to you today is called the black hole. Okay? The black hole, it's amazing, and it's amazing how fast you can adapt the black hole. The black hole is nothing and everything all at the same time. What goes in doesn't come out. So if you want security, it's 100% secure. If you want it to be fast, it's light speed. Is it useful? If you believe in it, it will be. And does it integrate? You don't integrate with it. It integrates with you. Okay? And does it do big data? It doesn't matter. Big data, small data, all data, it doesn't matter. Of course I'm joking, but it gets to the point of my session, and I don't have the fancy flyby cool stuff that Nick had, but the point of my session is that sometimes we get caught up in this fact that we have the cool kids talking about the cool new technology, and then we have those who are really investigating technology. What I'm telling you today is that nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing has changed from what you used to do to what you do today. So first of all, who in here is in IT? Raise your hand. Okay. Who is a knowledge worker, information pro, everything besides IT? Okay. Excellent. And who is a service provider? Okay. All right. Exactly what I was expecting about. So we are here today because we all want to go to the cloud, but we don't know what that means. And it's very similar. Anybody in this room like this phrase? It is what it is. I've been guilty of using it a few times, I'll be honest. Or do you often say, no offense, but? If you like those phrases, then you also like the phrase, the cloud, and you probably use it all the time. But the cloud tells you only three things. It tells you that it's accessible, that virtualization technology is used, and that the server is not near you. That's it. So that means you're using an infrastructure term to talk about solutions, productivity. You don't solve a HR problem by talking about servers and hard drives. Just like you shouldn't use the term cloud to define any sort of problem you're trying to solve. Okay? What happens when you do that is your expectations get all out of whack. You start to expect magic. Now, there's some other terms used to define the cloud. SaaS, PaaS, I never, yes. And they're all very popular. SaaS is still actually used. PaaS is used a lot. Infrastructure as a service, okay. They help a little bit. But SaaS is so 2007. I mean, it's embarrassing if you use this term. PaaS and infrastructure as a service are really almost the same thing. And analysts use acronyms. You don't need to. Just let them have it. I can guarantee you that very soon we're going to have cloud as a service and games as a service and maybe SaaS as a service. I wouldn't be surprised. But here's what it comes down to. The cloud is never changed. It's always been this, right? You have the cloud, you have internet and servers, you have SaaS, you have all this stuff. It all boils down to productivity. One simple thing, productivity. You want to be more productive. So even though it makes you sound cool when you're at a party, when you talk about the latest cloud solution that was released yesterday, there's a YouTube video about, I'm sure you've seen the Somebody Says video. Daniel and I did a What SharePointers Say video. It's very funny. There was one in the Silicon Valley where they were talking about Pinterest, or they were talking about something, and then they're saying, yeah, it's like Pinterest for cats, or it's like Google Docs for dogs that like to exercise or something. Yes, you can find a cloud solution, a SaaS solution for everything, and it does make you cool for a while, but have you solved any problems? So my point is focus on productivity. Focus on productivity. What do you want to do? You want to spend less time on common remedial tasks. You want to spend less time sharing and searching for content. You want to spend more time creating and consuming content because that's what you're paid to do. And you want work to suck a little less. How often do any of you in this room think about your car? And this was forefront of my mind because I just bought a brand new hybrid. And I got really excited about it. And man, for 2 days, I couldn't shut up about my new hybrid. But I commute every day to San Mateo, and I haven't said a word about my car. Why? Because it works. It solves the problem. I'm no longer super excited about my fancy car. It does what it was supposed to do. It gets me to work effectively until the battery dies, and then I have to pay a whole bunch of money to... But that's a different story. I don't think about my car every day because it solved the problem. Technology gets out of the way. It makes you productive. And once you're productive, you forget about it. And that might be a little sad for the trendy kids who are trying to throw around the SaaS terms all day long, but it's true. And what ends up happening is if you focus on productivity today, cloud will happen. It will happen naturally. And it's not just a technology problem, it's a people problem. Where's Shad? Oh, he didn't show up? Okay. I was going to use Shad's people process technology. It's something that there's other barriers here, and the barriers tend to be security and all this other stuff and getting people engaged. Okay? So cloud will happen. Focus on productivity. You have to avoid cloud delirium, which is what I mean when I said you get skewed. Focus on what you want to accomplish. You want to increase productivity. You want to have accessibility from everywhere. You want device integration. You want the ability to fail fast. And that's what Nick was talking about earlier, and it is so true. Being able to fail is a huge benefit of the cloud. You want to be agile. And I truly mean that. I think Dan was probably the last one that used fail fast all the time, and now it's my new favorite phrase. But if you're able to recover from something very quickly, test out something new, and recover from it very quickly, you've learned a ton, but you haven't lost much. And if you look at enterprise software, you get a business analyst, you write a project plan, you start working on your governance plan, you build a committee. By the time you're done with your project, the technology is way out of date, and the process is painful. If you screw up anywhere in the middle of that process, starting over is also extremely painful. you still must plan, you still must focus on the workflow, and you also must choose your functionality wisely. Don't just use features because they're there. SharePoint has this awful problem. Just because the feature's there, you want to have it. Does it bring benefit to you? How you acquire technology has changed because of the cloud. Like I was saying before, you can get just a taste of the technology. It can spiral downwards where, like at my current company, everybody has their favorite SaaS provider, and they all run into your office and say how badly we need to use this new technology. We all quickly set up accounts and we play with it, and then we have arguments about it, right? But it's nice because you can test things quickly. You can move fast. You can scale up and down without the pains. And the acquisition of technology is closer to where the value is gained, right? And that's important when I was talking about the whole project management and building out a complex solution. Oftentimes, the people who benefit from this whole process are so far removed that it doesn't even matter. So in the past, the process, and this is completely oversimplified, if you wanted a technology product, you went through IT, and you worked with the money people, and you eventually got to the end users. But notice I put a funky loop in there. It goes back from the end users back to IT, because that's normally what happens, because you have iterations, because you never do it right the first time. And technology never fails because of technology. It always fails because of poor planning. And it's no different really in the cloud, but now end users can acquire the technology and they can push it upwards. But you have to have the buy-in in the entire organization. So, is your organization ready for the cloud? I told you to focus on productivity, but is your organization ready? Does your organization have the internet maturity, even for a private cloud or a hybrid scenario? The thing is, today we have a challenge. If you block any sort of technology, your users will find a way to use it. It's the technology underground, and it's unavoidable. And all that does is create a problem later. So sometimes organizations take the position, just forget about it. We'll kill it. We'll block it on our firewall. They'll figure it out. It's easy. Or they can be aware of it and address it and say, okay, you can use it in this scenario or that scenario. Or they can fully embrace it. But that is our biggest challenge, right, today. It's not talking about cloud and how we adopt and all this stuff. It's how do you get the whole organization culture behind the changes and using it to be productive. So, social, the social aspect of the cloud. This one is so hard to quantify. It really is. But I want to start from the bottom up. Engagement helps create purpose. The new workforce, as we heard in the keynote on the first day, the new workforce wants to belong, wants to be a part of something. They want work to suck a little less. And that's where social comes in. But social also allows your employees to spend time on wasteful things, but also get answers to questions and collaborate and get things done faster. We spend less time working on stuff that shouldn't take as long as it does. I challenge you to really think about how you spend your workday, and you might come to the same realization that I did, which is that I'm paid to do a lot of things that were not in my job description. Transparency is not a choice anymore. It really isn't. And you can embrace it. It's an uncomfortable feeling. God, it's uncomfortable. At CloudShare, we have status.cloudshare.com that tells the status of our servers at any given time. And when they go down, it's a very uncomfortable feeling. But it is a tool for us to talk about how we know how important that is to our customers. So transparency is hard. I know, but you got to do it. Mobile. Does anybody believe in a work week anymore? It doesn't exist. There is no such thing as a work week. I work every Sunday, partly because my development team's in Israel and we do all releases on Sunday. But anyways, mobile, the good and the bad is you're always working. the weird thing that happens is you get these content chain reactions with mobile. One person creates one piece of content and just fires across the board. So one thing to think about mobile is that there is going to be more content, period. And you have to be ready for that. And are you really going to build the infrastructure to support that in a private cloud type scenario? It's very complex. Oh, I want to go back to that. One big thing to note, because I'm going to talk about this in a second, is web support equals device support anymore. HTML5 is amazing. So what this all leads up to is I'm telling you that you need to become agile. But agile is not just a process, it's a culture. And it's very, very hard to get in. But once you've become agile, once you're comfortable failing and recovering very quickly in testing and adopting and changing and refining, then you have a culture that is going to allow you to move with the technology and get the productivity. And it's very exciting. It's going to feel at first like you have more logins than you know what to do with. And everybody has that problem. But in the end, if you adopt that culture, it's very effective. Failure is actually really fun because you find out that you're not stressed out about breaking a server and you're not stressed out about messing something up in a configuration because you can roll back very easily, you can start over, you can test different things, you can have multiple versions and decide which one fits best. So it's actually very exciting. And the modern startups today, one which you all have on your name badges, they're amazing because they are so agile. And they could fail 1,000 times but still be ahead of the company who's trying to plan their whole way through every problem. So here are some things to think about. I think more than ever where your vendor is going, especially in the content management space, is important. You need to know their direction. You need to know, are they agile? Are they continually evolving? HTML5 is going to be a big, big, big thing, and keep your eye on that. Support of HTML5 in any content management system, any SaaS application is going to be critical. You can't neglect your users. I know you've heard this before. You heard this before the cloud even existed. Users are king, and you need to find solutions for your users to solve a problem. Otherwise, it becomes us versus them, and it's no fun. Governance used to be about publishing documents and saying, follow these rules. Actually, it was a thing that you pulled out of a drawer if you got in trouble. But governance really has to be about involving your users, adapting, growing, extending. Make it interactive, make it social, bring involvement, crowdsource inside of your own organization. It's a really fun thing to do exercises where you actually have your team, you have your end users solve the problems. You would be surprised what they can come up with. And the one thing I want to say is with all of these cloud solutions, you stand the risk of trading one-time hog for another. Anybody here use Salesforce? Use Chatter with Salesforce? Few, okay. If you have it configured a certain way, Chatter will send you an email every time you're mentioned inside of Chatter. So basically you have both. And it's very painful. Actually, they all do that. Basecamp, all of them. They'll send you an email. So you have this cloud solution, but it's still feeding old technologies. And just because it's cool doesn't mean you should use it. SharePoint is the one that's most fresh in my mind. There's a thing in SharePoint called My Sites and liking and all this stuff. And I've never really seen, it's hard for a company to be effective there. And usually they choose to use it because it's cool. Just because it's cool. All right, somebody's going to ask me this question. Is it secure, the cloud? Is your current environment really secure? Who's aware of the latest Microsoft RDP exploit? That's it? No. Oh, man. Okay. So there's a brand new exploit in Microsoft RDP for Windows Server, Windows 7. And this is a tremendous exploit that makes it very easy for somebody to take over an RDP connection to anything connected to the web And the fact that none of you raise your hands, every single cloud provider out there has already been on top of this. And they have already patched their servers. And if you haven't patched your servers, you better go and do it right after we're done here. We have this false sense of what on-prem security actually is. I would say that most cloud providers are actually more secure. Your biggest question is the cloud provider looking at your data? That's a valid question. But is your cloud provider more secure than on-prem? Probably not. Unless you have a whole networks operations team like cloud providers have, then maybe it is. But this is not a good excuse anymore. All right, iCloud, therefore I am. Truly, I didn't exist before the cloud, and now the black hole. So if you want to reach me, that is how you reach me. And now, I did pretty good. We have a few minutes for questions. Questions? I will see tweets coming through. They've been going crazy this whole time. Any questions?
We have a question here.
Thank you, Chris. It was a great talk. We use CloudShare for creating POCs for customers.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get over the hump from a POC to a production system on the
That's
cloud?
a good question. SharePoint?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me explain to everybody. Fail fast, fail fast, fail fast. There's cloud solution providers that do nothing but allow you to fail fast. And one of those is CloudShare. And what it is development and testing environments so you can quickly spin something up, and if you break it, you delete it and you start over, and who cares? So the question was, how do you move from there to production? In the cloud world, there's a lot of ways to move what you've built into production. Specifically in content management, the solution is what's called moving database detach. You move your database. I would love to talk to you about the exact methods to do that after this, but there is a way. But the cool thing about the cloud and virtualization is that most cloud providers even run their code on the cloud. We have a little thing internally we call Cloudception, and that's where we run CloudShare inside of CloudShare. We can do that because virtual machines. Very soon, in the document management world, we are going to be talking about virtual machines as documents. Virtual machines used to be these big, heavy things that took hours to copy from one place to another. It's no longer true. We're going to have retention schedules. We're going to have everything around virtual machines. And now you can take a virtual machine from one spot and move it to another spot and boot it up. At CloudShare, we keep multiple copies of the same virtual machine in case we ever need to revert. So that is one really exciting thing that's happening in the cloud. Any other questions? Oh, come on, guys. This is the Engage track. If you want to know about the black hole, we're still figuring things out, but it's going to be released very soon, and it's going to be amazing. All right. Well, thank you. Please follow me.
Chris
tweet
Riley,
me.
everyone.